Hey, I'm ElusiveKev. Welcome back to MXGP Pro for the final time. As we're going to try out a 450 for the first and only time in this game. And we're going back to France. I love that circuit so much. That's going to be where we're going to take part in our final race. And we thought Hillman had retired. He's coming out for one special final out in this final race. As here are the conditions. You've got some clear weather, so we can actually try this track out properly. And we've got a single race, of course, and everything else is as you would expect in extreme career. So we have realistic race length, realistic AI difficulty, pro physics, manual transmission, and rewind is OFS. And we also control, have the separate brakes, and we control the rider rate. So let's get going in France then for the final 30-minute plus 2 that race.
Hello everybody and welcome to France. The cameras along the trackside of Villars-sous-Écot are giving us a preview of today's track. The MXGP of Pays de Montbéliard is about to begin. The last few adjustments to the bike, and we're just a few minutes away from the start of today's MXGP category race. In a few minutes, the roar of the crowd will be surpassed by the rumble of the engines, which will determine today's race.
So this is the setup of the bike as well. I don't think I've actually shown these. So we've got, again, soft springs, forks as well, then shock absorbers, slightly harder. You can see mainly soft on the front and rear, and then gearing's right in the middle. Haven't really changed that. Brake response is modular. We don't want them aggressive. Same with accelerator mapping as well. Once again, just want the smooth application out the corners. Then a short wheelbase as well. You can see the advantage of the short wheelbase, but it makes the bike a bit more responsive and agile while losing stability. We don't really care about the stability. We can control that with our thunder finger on the controller. So yeah, for the only time revving up on the 450, waiting for the gates to drop as we get underway for 30 minutes plus 2 laps of fun for the final time in MXGP Pro. As we go to the outside, someone already down as Hurrah, the home hero, gets the whole shot. As we battle with Trixie, old rival from Mitsu for Hillman, still on the Kawasaki. Hillman gets up to 16, gets into the top 15. That's one thing to cross off. There is Trixie, 911 in front. As we battle with Maxi Nagel, the veteran German, multiple Grand Prix winner. Fortunately, never got the big one, the title. Used to race for Kimi's motocross team as well, did Nagel. As we get into the top 10, we battling with Disali, the Kawasaki, the Belgium, always so good on that bike. Unfortunately, just not enough to battle the KTMs for the title, but he's always up there in the championship. As he's in 9th in this race, as here comes Nagel, landing on Hillman. Get out of here, Maxi. Coming down the inside. Go over the jump into 9th, and everyone's slow in front. Coming into the top 5. Fabio pull in, and Max Ansi, another old MX2 rival, for 3rd. Getting past Asvarnas then. And Padin, I think, was also an old MX2 rival as well for Hillman. As now we've got Hurrah after his whole shot, battling for the lead with the legends. Tano Caroli. Quite dominated motocross in the first half of this decade. I think he's won like 9 titles. That's not even the most for a rider as well. You've got, I think, Belgians like Everts, who's in double figures in like the 90s and 1000s. But his dream of being in double figures is slowly closing that window for Caroli, unfortunately. Lots of very good young riders coming through, such as teammate Jeffrey Erlins, 3-time, I think, MX2 world champion, and now is the reigning MXGP title holder, taking over the throne from Caroli, who won it in 2017 as well. Where's Hurrah? What, he's still in the lead? What the hell? He's pointed the wrong direction with his wheel in the air, and he leads still. And Hurrah, the guy who ended Caroli's run at the first half of this decade of titles back in 2015. I think the Italian was having injury issues, but Furbo won ahead. I think it was ahead of Perlin, actually, his fellow Frenchman. And then they won the Motocross of Nations with France together. Sure, that must have been an interesting discussion in between the races. As we battle into third then with Hillman. Come on, Hillman. Only chance on MXGP bike and kind of an expedition race here. He's back with Perlin now for the podium. Heard his name and now he's gone wandering in battle for a podium here. For the Frenchman. Yeah, Quali won it in 2017. Perlin's reigning champ. Then in 2016 it was Tim Geiser on the Honda. Fresh off winning it, the MX2 titles in 2015. So he won his first season in MXGP. Absolutely crazy. Again, I think injury issues for Caroli. Actually, for a number of riders, you always have injury issues, unfortunately, in motocross. It's a very physical sport. Even Herlin's had that this year. He had like a training accident, missed a round. So that's one way to take the lead. Land on your opponent and then just run away. So yeah, motocross riders always getting injured. It's almost down. We would have been down in MX2, I feel, with a touch like that. We're just alive, and here comes Perlin to excite the home crowd. We've got one Frenchman in the lead, got another one trying to go for the podium. Or not, Hillman's just going to run the fun. He's going to take the lead. So we're only 5 minutes into this race. It feels like a lifetime already. That time's 33s. Now it was 35s, wasn't it? I know we were in the wet. On those MX2s. So taking like a second off, maybe second and a half for the wet conditions. So that times aren't that much quicker, unimpressively. Now bikes don't feel too different to ride at the moment. You may be lifting a bit more before jumps, and some jumps are a bit easier now. Like this circuit actually is a bit easier to ride maybe on these MXGP bikes. Because you've got those power over some jumps, so you're easy clearing jumps. You've just got to be careful into and out of them as well, landing. You've got the increased power. But definitely pretty good going into that right-hander. So yeah, you just got to be careful with the application of the power of the brakes as well. Actually, the brakes aren't too different. Feels like we're braking at same spots. And yeah, weight transfer is actually the biggest difference as well, where we've actually got to worry about that. We've actually got to lean forward when we have to, especially on the exit corners, you know, with the acceleration. So we don't have to worry too much about that at an MX2 level. As you've taken the lead, now we're just going to sail away as you try and do a mistake-free race as well. I've probably jinxed it now. Because we didn't quite achieve it, Extreme Career, even though we were robbed in the final race, I tell you. So you go 31.3, that's more like it. That's the few seconds gap I expected. Well, I'm slightly disappointed the gap isn't bigger in, say, riding these bikes compared to MX2. It feels almost exactly the same. I remember in MXGP3, I think it was, when I did the Motocross of Nations, like swapping between the MX2 and MXGP bikes, and then the open class 450s, which are just MXGP bikes as well, I think. You know, there was a big difference, it felt like, but in this game, not really. That's a bit disappointing, and I can add it to the long list of disappointments about this game, unfortunately. Let's try and wrap up then my thoughts from the last video a bit more concisely, a bit more coherently as well. So is MXGP Pro better than MXGP 3? Overall, I'm not sure. I was thinking it's taking a big step back, especially in track deformation during races. Like in MXGP 3, you actually felt the track change during the race, even though you could ride almost everywhere as well, so you could develop your own lines. This is a bit more realistic, maybe where there's one central line to follow, but then you can't really create your own lines, and it feels the same to ride from start to finish, like from the start of the race to the finish of the race. Even in wet conditions where you expect, say, puddles to form, maybe the track to be feel a bit sloshier You know, maybe it'd be a bit more difficult to ride towards the end of the race. No, felt exactly the same in those previous couple of races. And it feels the same in the dry as well, just all the way through. Like in these conditions, the way I'm going to be riding now is the same I'm going to be riding on that, say, 21 or 20 right at the end of the race. So that's pretty disappointing, I would say. That's taking a big step back, even though the weather systems, they're a bit nicer as well. And then the physics, of course, probably the main thing. Again, graphics, slightly nicer, a bit more bloom. Disable that quickly. I don't know why Milestone have just gone for put bloom everywhere. Increase it. Increase it to 10,000. That will make our games look good. No. I think I've turned it off totally in MotoGP, and I think the game looks better without it on. So, without all of that bloom on. So, yeah. Not a big fan of that graphics wise. Graphics are decent though. I'm not the biggest graphics guy, as long as the game, more about the gameplay and the features of a game rather than the graphics. I don't care if this looks good in 4K, as long as it just looks good, like it's not an eyesore. That's all I care about. This maybe style of graphics I get a bit more fussed about, as I said, with the bloom everywhere in the Milestone games, but yeah, graphics are good enough. It doesn't have the theatrics of, say, Supercross, like those little intros. Like, there's a commentator here, I don't know their name. They're barely, you can just skip their crap instantly. They don't really care about the commentator. I don't know why they included them. But just get rid of them. You don't need a voiceover guy if you're going to be kind of that in denial of having one. Like, they give Ralph Shreen a good platform. They even give him a name in the intro for the Supercross stuff. So, yeah, I don't know why they included a commentator. I mean, they have it in all of the games, though, with MotoGP as well. Again, they had barely anything to the games. I don't know why they included it. Ralph Shreen's probably the one who's had the most. But even then, it's not a lot. It's just the same old, here's an intro talking about the track. Here's the results. Oh, this guy was a bit disappointed, wasn't he? Oh no, he's on the podium, look how happy he is. That's it. That's all they get to say. Maybe they had them commentate while your career as well. Maybe have that introduced in the intro. It's like, oh, this guy's coming off a bad result or something. That would make them interesting. It actually feels like there's an interaction with the commentator then. They're actually part of the game, but at the moment they feel like nothing. They're pointless. Why are you including the Milestone? As we did a terrible lap and lost the lead to Coroli. See, I say he's over the hill in real life, and look, fighting back now for the lead. Heard my words. Well, not over the hill exactly, just I'm not sure he's going to win any more titles of Herdings around, unfortunately. I think that's the same for the rest of the field as well, even though there's some very good young riders coming through as well, such as Prado and Jonas, Siwa as well from MX2 too. So yeah, there's a good future for motocross. Just fortunately it's the Jeffrey Herdings around as well who could dominate, and that's what happens in motocross. Out of almost all motorsports, domination is definitely a thing in motocross. Just look at the all-time list and look at when they won their titles. They correlate quite closely. I said Corradi dominated the first part of this decade. Herdings could dominate the next 5 years at least if he remains injury-free. Yeah, so we had the Belgians from the 90s and thousands too, and we had Brits in the 70s and 80s who were pretty damn good. So, and of course the Americans. Not so much over here, but you definitely see that again in Supercross or in motocross over there. You know, champions taking years of just dominating, such as Ricky Carmichael. Of course, in recent years, you've got Ryan Dungey as well this decade. Not sure who's going to be next though. Could be Tomic. Then you've got Roxon as well. Marvel's Marvin. Got Anderson who won the Supercross. But Tomek seems to be winning, I think, the motocross as well on the outside. So who knows? It'll be interesting to follow. Again, I'm tempted to get the season pass as well, because I didn't get it last year for Supercross, even though I said I would. I'm tempted to get it this year, because again, their races are a totally different time zone compared to me in the UK. So I'm always going to be missing them, but they can catch them up. No, it's not like when I had the MXGP pass where I could just watch them at the same time. Oh, that was a massive jump there. I suppose I didn't fall. We're almost halfway through this race. I didn't even notice that. Well, the first third of the race went well then. First half has gone pretty well, fighting for the lead. Just sitting behind Crowley at the moment. But yeah, very excited for what will come in Supercross 2, the game. Yeah, we got to some extent MXGP Pro first of all. So yeah, riding, better feel, getting on the power. Not such good feel on the brakes, but it's the same for all milestone games on the Unreal Engine for me. So there might just be a user problem. And you can't slide the bikes as much on MX2, which was disappointing. You can on MXGP, as you can see, with the increased power, but still, it's just more fun riding in MXGP3. It's not that much fun, actually, in MXGP Pro, to be honest. It's not fun riding the bike, especially with the landings as well. That mechanic, that just needs to be implemented better. It feels so, as I said, fake most of the time. But I have to land on both wheels properly. Doesn't feel like it. Feels like I can mess up, be okay, but do it right, and then I'm crashing for some reason. It just totally inconsistent, needs to be improved. And that's the same for the air physics, which of course is the main selling point of this game. Where were they? That's one thing I really hope they do improve in Supercross 2. Good thing they're not making it the main selling point of the game, or else there could be another case of fraud there going on. But as you go into the second half of the race, so yeah, that's one thing that really does need to improve in Supercross. And I hope the physics as well are just as fun as they were in the first Supercross this year. Like I could actually slide the bike into corners. It was ridiculous at times. And hopefully our opponents are better in Supercross compared to here. But they were pretty poor in the first Supercross game. So hopefully they've improved them majorly, the second Supercross. And MXGP Pro, they're good on occasion. Like good to battle. It's good that they just dive down your inside. Sometimes it's too oblivious though and too far back, so they just wipe you out. That's just the other side of the coin, unfortunately, making your opponents this aggressive. But then just introduce a slider where we can control the aggression, like they have in Sims. I don't know why Mars haven't done that when they've introduced a slider for the difficulty. That's the same for the F1 games, Cody's as well. Do that, just introduce a slider, because again, AI absolutely ridiculous. I did not want to play F1 2018 after one race because of how stupid the AI were. So, with how aggressive they were. Like, they just dive bomb you and just cause front wing damages for no reason whatsoever. If we just had an aggression slider like we do in Automobilista, R-Factor, Sato Corsa, I guess, even though I haven't replayed it. Race Room as well, just from Sims. Have aggression sliders. They can really change the opponent, change the AI, like they do in Automobilista. Like, you have it at the most aggressive, they will do what they do in this game, doing F1, just dive bomb all over the place. But then if you have it below, say, 50%, they are just way too timid. So I do tend to lean towards, say, 90% AI aggression, say in Automobilista, like quite high. Actually, not 90, I mean around... Actually, it's around 50. I was thinking below 50, it's too timid. But then again, if you have it towards 100, it tends to be too high, too aggressive. So, yeah, I tend to be right in the middle with AI aggression. But yeah, just something I had. I mean, you're working on making these games realistic as possible in simulation, making the AI and opponents as realistic as possible to battle with, and more aware and more cohesive to the player. They actually make them aware of the player. which I think Milestone does a very poor job of. Like, they're great battling each other, but when you appear, they're like, oh crap, what do we do? Sometimes, and as I said, they just take you out sometimes for no reason. So I think Cody has done a much better job at that of making the player involved with the AI. So yeah, again, I hope that's much improved in Supercross, because Supercross 2, because in Supercross, it's so ridiculous sometimes, just getting wiped out because they're 100 meters behind and they're just dive bombing you. They just punt your rear wheel and you're over. So yeah, that was my major bugbear with Supercross, really. And also air physics be improved, and then in MXGP Pro as well, career mode is a bit sparse. It's been the same for 4 editions now. Actually improve it and do stuff like the Cody's games have. Like, they're taking influence from, you know, the NBA 2K, who would always, like, this decade introduce like stories into career mode, into my player. Now, it was pretty good at first, but the stories have always been terrible. So I think this year's has been abysmal. I mean, they finally do have skippable cutscenes, but when they had Spike Lee do his joint, as they said, that was... I wish I could have skipped the cutscenes. That was such a terrible story. I was just glad to get through that and get into the main part of my career. But then, unfortunately, that just became a grind fest, which unfortunately is 2K now. The NBA games are just grind fest. They just want your money. They don't really care about anything else. Gameplay seems to have stagnated. It's still better than NBA Live, but then NBA Live is more arcade, more fun just to play. Plus, 2K are making EA not good in the basketball games, because NBA Live doesn't just... You can actually, you know, upgrade your player quite quickly. It doesn't ask you to... doesn't make career a grind. What have you done, 2K, to make EA look good of all things? EA, the company that just sits on loot boxes and Ultimate Team for games now, for sports games, like with Madden and FIFA, and with what they do with Battlefront. The guys are fighting Belgium for loot boxes, but they still don't care about it. Even though I think it's illegal now in Belgium. Well, they've actually banned loot boxes. Hopefully it becomes a worldwide thing. At least in paid games and where it can influence the outcome of games. Like, I don't really care too much about skins, but say in FIFA, you're paying to get a better team in Ultimate Team by getting packs. Like, it's the whole thing of Ultimate Team. Or FIFA this decade. You remember when FIFA had a career mode? That was pretty good, wasn't it? But yeah, I'd like that to see career mode actually enhanced in future MXGP or in Supercross 2 as well, because again, it was pretty basic. Customization was pretty damn good. But again, integrating, you know, the commentator. Plus, he didn't make a big deal when he switched manufacturers. I like that as well. Like, oh, he was on a Yamaha. Now, he's on a Honda, for instance. Like, and the bikes did feel different in Supercross. Gonna be mainly riding Kawasaki, so I'm not sure they feel different in this game as well. Again, I haven't felt much different from X2 MXGP, so I don't hold out much hope for him feeling different between manufacturers. But that was a good thing in Supercross, though, that, yeah, that has fun. It felt like a bullet, but a bit useless round the corners. Actually, no, was that the best all-rounder? I forget now. It might have been the Honda, actually, or the Yamaha, which was the best all-rounder. Then Honda was pretty useless, so was a Kawasaki. But then you could, with the customization, with upgrading, you can make them bikes very useful. And that's something that needs to be improved as well, is have the slider thing in. Like, you got it in Ride 3, you got it in MotoGP. I'm sure it's going to be coming in Supercross 2 as well, but this game is not further evidence that having tiered difficulties like Extreme, etc. should be a thing of the past in racing games. Just give us sliders. I mean, they've even done it in the F1 games as well, Cody's. And I think they did it in Dirt Rally, having tier difficulty. Hopefully they have a slider introduced. Because again, that would had to... Seems like it's a point in simulation games, so just had to make in Dirt Rally maybe a bit more of a simulation. It's, oh, Karadi's down from second behind. We're cruising away in the lead now. So yeah, that's kind of a mix of my sum up of MXGP Pro and Supercross. I also thought MXGP Pro have more of the cinematics like Supercross. Well, that was fantastic, going in the stadium, having all the fireworks and displays. As I said, we don't have barely anything here in MXGP Pro. We have the intro of the commentator, but you know, some very stellar camera angles of the course, you would say. That's about it. So that needs to be improved for the next Motocross game. And just having Motocross of Nations back, having classic circuits, that would be awesome. Because you've got the 250 bikes, 2-stroke bikes, should I say. Get some classic circuits back. You've done that as DLC for games previously, horrifically, with the MotoGP games. Like the Guna Seika from the previous game sold for like £4 as DLC for the next game. That's because it got taken off the calendar. And then you could only use it in like Time Trial, I think. Or Time Attack. That was it. What a waste of money that was. Just include it in the normal game then if you're going to do that. Especially as it's the same assets in it, like you made no enhancements. So yeah, don't do that in the future for classic tracks maybe, but actually enhance the tracks. And yeah, classic tracks would be nice to go with the classic bikes. I mean, I understand it's been changed in the Supercross calendar as well. Maybe include those old tracks just as part of the game. You know, and there's options to do in Time Trial. But again, seems like they're trying to squeeze as much money as they can out of here. No! That never happened. We didn't crash. Our guy just fell asleep. You know, he's taking a rest. Okay? We've got 5 minutes left. I'm not restarting this race. It'd be absolutely ridiculous if I did that. But no mistake-free races. At least we've had one mistake in races. I don't count that last race as a mistake. I'm going to count that as a mistake-free race, okay? Because that was ridiculous. That's just the physics of the game being utterly stupid, I think. For me doing my weight change. I say the rate transfer wasn't really a thing in MXC. Then the one time I do it, I crash in the last race. But anyway. But yeah, just making the commentators more meaningful, going back to that earlier point, would just really help. Living the life kind of feel and experience with career mode. Actually make career mode an experience. Like they tried to with the first like MotoGP games. Like you create your own team, you're in the motorhome in the paddock. That was pretty nice. What I missed was like the interviews. You know, getting interviewed by someone. Like we now have in F1 2018 again, like we had in F1 2010 and 11 when they had to live the life thing. When again, were you in the motorhome? I don't know what's happened to racing games, why it's gone backwards on career mode from the early editions for F1 and MotoGP. At least F1's getting back to it. It's actually feels like improved in that living the life. Like now you can dictate, say, team development. You got different career paths. Like F1 2018 career mode looks fantastic. Just a shame about, as I said, the AI, so I don't really want to play career mode because of them, but it's like Cody's actually trying to make career mode an experience, and that's what career mode should be. That's what I think FIFA tried to do with the Journey, but the Journey was just a absolutely shoddy attempt at it. Like, I hate the Journey. It is... If they're trying to build up this... Not sure, being a footballer, you get all the money, goals, cars, etc. That's what it seems like. But then they tried to build an actual story in, and it didn't feel the focus that they used in MotoGP in FIFA 18. I haven't tried FIFA 19, the journey, because I played FIFA 19 and I hate the gameplay, so I'm not really going to try and play that game again. But what they tried to do with the journey in FIFA, they did with Longshot in Madden. Just as this kind of fun, actually introducing game mechanics and how to be better at the game. They actually, like with play calls in American football, you don't know, they have, in play calls, they have like 5 or different sections just for one play. But then that section tells, say, like, the quarterback what kind of play it is, if it's a pass, and what kind of pass it is, if it's going to be a long pass, short pass, medium pass. Then there's a section for the wide receivers, there's a section for the linemen, section for tight ends, section for running backs, for each part of the team in that one play. So it's like a long running on sentence, but each part rates to, a specific part of the play. And also formation as well. And they actually introduced that in Longshot and actually try and teach you about American football while having this kind of silly story. And that part's kind of heartfelt. It's a bit cheesy, the stories, but Longshot's fantastic in Madden. I love it. I wish it was a bit longer in the latest Madden, but again, they've just gone off the EA cliff of just focusing on Ultimate Team, unfortunately. And it's like, when they try to enhance franchise mode or career mode, they've done some tiny tweaks. No big overhauls like they tried to do about 5 years ago with that, when they introduced the new engine. They're on the new consoles as well back then. But yeah, they really do need to improve career mode in kind of most sports games, it feels like. Now that I'm saying it out loud, of course, EA, as I said, gone off the Ultimate Team cliff. That's all they really care about. But there's a big section of players who do care about career mode in those sports games, in motorsport games as well. It's a shame they're not doing more with it. Making it, as I said, an experience. That's what career mode feels like it should be and isn't in most. As I said, F1 2018 is leading the way at the moment in that. It feels like in all sport games from what I'm playing, because it seems like 2K career is just going off the cliff, and I said Madden's not good at the moment. And then MLB The Show has a career where they have their guy show up occasionally. That's a good... I think that's got the experience feeling down, but there's just some aspects, say the cutscenes aren't that great in MLB The Show, but then they do mainly focus on the gameplay, and gameplay's pretty decent, even though it went a bit down this year because it mainly seemed to focus on power hitting from what I could tell batting wise, and I'm not really a power hitting person. More those guys who just gets the bases. And baseball we've got 2 laps to go. Final 2 laps in MXGP Pro. And I'm talking about MLB The Show. But anyway, that's the rambling bit about career mode, how it could be improved. And I like to see that in sim games as well. Like Automobilista. Give us like a little path that we could follow. Like they tried to do in Assetto Corsa, I think, but just didn't really kind of work. Again, I don't expect career mode in Sims now, but we just had to, because Sims, of course, are mainly concentrating on kind of experience of driving, but yeah, just having a progression, shall we say, through all the cars you have. That would be nice. Like you have that in iRacing where you can make your own kind of career, because they just offer you these bunch of cars to play and race online with, but they do build it up from, say, the rookie class, then you got the skippies, then you got the Formula 2s, or Formula Renault 2.0, should I say, then the F3s, then the Formula Renault 3.5, then the F1. That's kind of a progression path to the F1 cars. You kind of do that yourself in iRacing. They could do that in, say, Project Cars. They do kind of have career mode actually in Project Cars. That's a stupid example, wasn't it? But you can do it in, say, other sims. As I said, Automobilista, that would be nice, because you got all these different cars from all different eras. Maybe we could do that for, say, the F1 cars they have in that, from the 60s all the way to the modern hybrids. So we could get used to each car, and that would be like a little part as well, instead of just making this kind of your do-it-yourself adventure games, it feels like, you know, with us having all the content and then having like a championship mode or season that we create and we kind of make our own fun. Just some more help from the developers maybe on that side. Like they do on, like they're trying to do with multiplayer as well, you know, with GT Sport following the kind of iRacing model. Project Cars 2 tried to do that. Got sim racing system. You know, developers trying to help on that side as well. Multiplayer, make multiplayer fun. Try and do that on single player as well. And also multiplayer, make that good in Supercross 2. I know you're notorious for making bad multiplayer mods, and it's so stripped down in Ride 3. Like, I've tried it out. Same for MotoGP 18 recently. Went back to that, see if people are still playing it online. To my shock and horror they were. And it's so stripped down, the options. Where's the online from like MotoGP 14 and 15, where all these different game modes and people could actually play each other? And we could win races like we did on a 450 bike. Yeah, I missed that multiplayer. And also, just taking the screenshot, if they could make the camera a bit more free in photo mode, so I'm not just glued to my rider. I want to take longer shots, you know, from like far away. But I'm so close to my rider, I can't do that. And kind of it feels like I'm kind of limited at times of what images I can take for the thumbnail. So anyway, lots of just the usual improvements that's in my. So I'm just ranted about the usual stuff again. Hopefully I don't have to do that for Supercross 2. And that was MXGP Pro. Overall, probably not as good as MXGP 3 in my view, but again, it feels like a kind of reset with this engine. Even though it was on the new engine last time, I don't understand it. It feels like a reset, like as I said, for F1 2015, for MotoGP 18. All the games this year from Milestone are just reset games, it feels like. You had, of course, new introduction of Supercross, introduction of Gravel. Only Ride 3 feels like a continuation from Ride 2. Even then it's got kind of different handling characteristics, and it's very much stripped down on multiplayer again as well. So I don't know. As Hillman wins by almost 5 seconds in his final race after 22 laps. So we do an extra lap as well. I think we did, yeah, because we only did 21, didn't we? On the MX2 bikes, ahead of Corodi by 4.7 seconds in the end. A comfortable enough win. We did sail away in that final third. I know Corodi fell down, but he was never really troubled at final third, even though I felt like we weren't riding our best either. Then we've got Anstey ran out the podium, the Brit on the Husqvarna. Then Herdens put in for the home crowd in fifth on this Husqvarna, ahead of Von Horbeck on the Yamaha. And I thought he's a Dutchman, he's actually Belgian. Now, God, I didn't say that in the video, did I, previously? Actually, I might have, didn't I? We've got guys, Desadi, then you've got Furby, and then the Lithuanian, Jan Stunksnis on the Suzuki. There's Koldenhoff, he's a Dutchman on the KTM. Then there's Tricksave, another home favourite on the Kawasaki in travelling it through the field. We've got Sean Simpson 17th on the Yamaha. And right at the back is Jake Nichols, on the KTM. As that is the Grand Prix results. We get 25 points for the final time with Hillman. It'll be a new rider for Supercross 2. Hopefully it'll be more of the same from Supercross, but just improved from Milestone. Unfortunately, I don't have much hope because it's Milestone, but you never know. I'm all up for surprises. But I hope you enjoyed our time with MXGP Pro. I did in the end. I have had my grievances with the game, especially with our opponents at times. But after taking a break, I think it was around the halfway mark of the MX2 season, after I came back, I did enjoy the game much more. Maybe I had a bit more fresh eyes on it, and didn't feel as much of a chore doing recording these episodes as well. That race just flew by with me just rambling for like 40 minutes. Well, it's how long it's been now. So yeah, in the end, there was some enjoyment in MXGP. There were some good races. There's some circuits where the AR difficulty felt, feel imbalanced. Like round here is perhaps too easy. Round in Aston perhaps too hard. But again, it didn't help the conditions. Also, since the last patch, another note about the weather, had much more wet races. I don't know what's happening. It's the same with MotoGP 18. Hopefully, when you don't patch Ride 3, we don't get more wet races, okay? And I think those are set in stone due to the volumes and how those races are set up. But I'm watching you, Milestone, the setups. Don't be doing that in Supercross as well, because I remember when that was patched as well, we had more wet races, and then they patched it again and it went away. But yeah, stop patching your games and you're introducing more wet races, Milestone, okay? Anyway, I'm done, I think, now.
He set an incredible pace in this race, leaving his opponents in the dust. This celebration is for him.
So you get some credits. And I think that is it now. That's our time with MXGP Pro over. I'll be back, as I said, for another motocross type game or Supercross with Supercross 2 in February next year. I believe it's coming out. Same month as Dirt Rally 2.0, so it's going to be a very busy month. But before then, I'm trying to bash through all of these series, so MXGP Pro will be one of hopefully many series I will end before that February month, with the likes of, I think I'll go back to gravel as well. Not very much looking forward to it, but definitely try and end that series, especially with the DLCs that came out as well. We've got TTR of Man 2, and then I might go back and revisit like Richard Burns Rally, or do kind of a road racing series on, say, Ride 3 and TTR of Man as well. Maybe do that over Christmas as well as a little series too. And then we've got other series to go back to as well, which I can't remember off the top of my head, but I'm sure I'll remember after this video. So yeah, lots of stuff to go through. Of course, we've got V-Rally 4. I'm going to try and finish that before Dirt Rally 2.0 comes out. So try and get some championships under our belts finally. And then MotoGP 18 will just roll on as normal. So we're in the MotoGP section now. So we only got a couple of seasons left, 2 or 3 seasons left, unfortunately, in that career. But I've been enjoying that again. Sometimes when I take a couple of days away, it feels better. So I'm not recording that as vigorously as I tried to record this series at first. But yeah, every couple of days I will record a MotoGP episode. It feels good. So yeah, that's what to expect as well. A little summary of what to expect going ahead too. But I hope you enjoyed our time with MXGP Pro. I did in the end. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.